Traxel held up.
3-2. Oh, they called it strike three. The Evans didn't think so. And the inning is over. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left. Middle of the 6th. A 9-3 Cub lead.
Let Marquee Sports Network deliver fresh baseball news and analysis to you with Cubs 360 Daily. Though baseball may be on pause, we're pulling together the most knowledgeable voices coming to you daily from their home to yours.
I hope David Ross and the Cubs are able to sort of reestablish what they had in 16. And whatever was lost incrementally in 17, 18, and 19.
Cubs 360 Daily, fresh each weeknight at 7:30 on Marquee Sports Network. Proudly presented by Miller Lite.
I got your back, you got mine. Think about you all the time. Together we can come through. That's what love's made of. When we can't be close, we can still be close.
It's a new day, a new time. And through it all, through the challenges, through the concern, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois is here, bringing you the care, comfort, and calm you've always depended on. In sickness and in health, we are in this together. We'll get through this together. So for a trusted resource, take heart in knowing Blue Cross is standing by you, with you, and for you, through it all.
No one should face breast cancer alone. I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. When I was diagnosed in 1980, there was no internet and little information available to make an informed decision. Today at NBCF, we help women at every step of their breast cancer journey. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. Learn more at nbcf.org/hope.
Root for the Padres.
Back at Wrigley Field, Chicago, where it's a 9-3 Cub lead. Cubs coming to bat here in the last of the 6th inning.
Ron Vallone on the mound, and he's supposed to have a very good arm. He's on for the 3rd time, a 1-0 record, a 2.70 ERA.
And Cianfrocco playing his 3rd position today, right field, first base, and now at short. The Ibis remains in a game to play right field. And as we mentioned, Vallone is on the mound.
Acquired along with Mark Newfield on July 31st for Andy Bennis. Vallone supposed to have a very good fastball and a most unusual delivery. And the first man that's going to look out at him is Luis Gonzalez. There you look at the numbers, including his time with Seattle, but a lot better in his short time with the Padres.
Oh, here we go in the 6th. And Gonzalez looks at a strike.
It's a very long day for the guys in the scoreboard who have to stay up there. Not many games being played, so you don't have to worry about that. But certainly a long day here today with just the Cubs and Padres going head-to-head for 2.
Oh, and 2 on Gonzalez.
Now that's a good pitch. That one went about 35 feet.
Crowd will let him hear about it.
That's one of the shortest pitches that we've seen in a long time. And Osmus did a very good job. It looks a bit like cricket as he throws it right into the ground. That was a dandy. Well, they're not going to hit that one, Tom.
No.
That is a good 0-2 pitch.
They're not going to hit that one either. So you throw the last one about 40 feet. Then you come back with one up over the head. Been a good pitching day for San Diego.
I will say, through all of the various mistakes, though, that was about the shortest pitch I've seen in many years. That one chases Louis out of the box. From the Southwest Plainview camera, we'll take a look at one up under the chin, or over the chin, of Gonzalez, and there is the camera. Still there after all these innings at Wrigley Field, the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera.
3-2 pitch on the ground into center field, a base hit by Gonzalez. 10th hit of the day for the Cubs here in the second game. They lost the opener, if you weren't with us, 3-2. Willie Blair besting Frank Castillo. Trevor Hoffman getting his 20th save. San Diego rallied late in that game, coming from behind with 2 runs in the 7th. But 9-3 here in the nightcap, and it's turning into nightcap.
That's one of the reasons why you really dislike playing doubleheaders, Tom, because the reality of it is about 75% of them are split. It doesn't help you much. It just takes a couple of clicks off the schedule, and it doesn't move you up or back.
And as we mentioned a couple of times already today, San Diego has to fly back home, and they'll play a doubleheader tomorrow against St. Louis at Jack Murphy Stadium.
Better them than the Cubs.
Amen. Up and in. 1-1 to Sanchez. Well, I don't know. I heard you and Harry were on quite a roll here in the second game.
Well, everything going along fine, especially this game. First game was a little tougher.
2-1 to Sanchez. Well, a big road trip coming up for the Cubs. As Steve mentioned earlier, really, when you're 6.5 back in the wild card race, and after the first game lost today, that's where the Cubs stand. The margin for error is very little, to be completely open and honest about it. You have 2 teams directly in front of you that you are hoping will just simply collapse, in Houston and the Dodgers. And you have a chance to go head-to-head with Tommy Lasorda's team at Dodger Stadium starting Monday night, and the Cubs had best be ready to go.
And then a big 4-game series with Colorado, and the Dodgers only 1 game behind Colorado. They're really closing of late. Los Angeles, winners of 7 of their last 10, including the last 3 in a row. Colorado, losers of 6 of their last 10, and they've lost 3 in a row. The Dodgers have closed to just 1 game.
Runner going, and it's fouled out of play.
So you figure one of those 2 teams is going to move squarely into the middle of the wild card race. And Tom, after today, you've got 48 games left. We know about the abbreviated season. Instead of 162, you're playing 144, and this is game number 96. So if you look ahead to big series, and you realize that every series is a big series because you're running out of time on the schedule. There still is enough time, but you have to put together winning streaks.
Ball forward to Sanchez. First 2 aboard here in the Cub 6. And you know, I know Cleveland and California, when they got together a couple of times over a 1-week span, despite the fact that there are a lot of games left, both those clubs took very seriously the idea about getting the best record in the American League. And the same holds true for that Cincinnati-Atlanta series going on right now at Fulton County Stadium. Final game in the rubber game tonight. Cincinnati, a little bit better record than the Braves right now.
Well, they've won 60, but Cincinnati has lost 33. The Braves have lost 35.
Here's Hernandez. He's down a strike.
There is Terry Adams, who appeared in the first game for 2/3 of an inning, giving up 1 hit and no runs, and I would think that he'd get a little work here in this one.
Well, Jim Riggleman had said before the game that ideally he would like Adams to have made his major league debut 3, 4, 5, 6 runs ahead. Apparently didn't have much of a choice in game 1. 2 on, nobody out. 1-2 now to Hernandez. Cubs leading 9-3. Gonzalez at second base. Sanchez, the runner at first. On the ground, this should be 2. Caminiti steps on third, throws to second to get the out there. So the unorthodox 5-4 double play. 2 down, 1 on. And the inning continues for Joe Kamak.
Well, after a very tough first half of the year for Caminiti defensively, he is showing you now why he's rated among the best. It's almost impossible to believe that Caminiti could make 20 errors the first half of the season, but he did that. But normally a spectacular defensive third baseman, and he's only made 1 error after the All-Star break.
Kamak, a fly ball into deep left center, not deep enough. Finley is there, and he makes a grab 2 in the inning. A hit a man left. Harry back to take you the rest of the way through at the end of 6. A 9-3 Cub lead.
If you love peanut butter most, this cup has your name on it. If you love chocolate most, this cup has your name on it. Not literally. That'd be a logistical nightmare, especially if we used last names. Then we'd have to do both sides. Reese's lovers, yeah, they're back.
I had a husband who was my vision, but when he died, I knew I was in big trouble.
At Care.com, search for lots of local caregivers who can help with meals, housekeeping, personal care, and more. It costs less than you think, and it's easy to pay. Care.com.
Home is more important than ever. At Overstock, we're committed to delivering on all your home needs. Starting now, everything ships for free. Big or small, Overstock, where quality costs less and everything ships free.
Hey guy. Hi there. Welcome to HIMS.
Should have done it years ago, and I feel like the young stud that I always imagined I was.
Outstanding product. Works above and beyond our expectations.
This has been a life changer, even in just a few weeks.
Featured in GQ, Playboy, and Men's Health. Find out what all the buzz is about.
Go to forhims.com/ed and get started with a free online visit while supplies last.
Sometimes buying a car is a necessity. CarGurus contactless services can help. Safely find the best deals available when you search by private dealer appointments, at-home test drives, and contactless purchase. CarGurus, find a great deal safely.
I'm Mike Zen, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
You're watching the Marquee Mystery Game. Let's get back to the action.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman. Well, after losing a heartbreaker 3-2 in the first game, the Cubs seemingly have this one in hand.
Steve Traxel trying to win his first game of the year at Wrigley Field. Only the second game in the course of his very young career. And his offense has helped him out today. Traxel's only given up 1 earned run, that coming on the home run. And the Cubs have a 6-run lead.
All right, got to hold them. 1 ball, no strikes. Top of the 7th. Little activity in the bullpen. Adams is down there again. There's a drive in the center. Will be caught by Brian McRae. 1 away. One of the fans have gone home. By now, they almost have 30,000 paid today. Finley is batted and flat out his Jody Reed. 1 out of 3 in this game. 1 out of 3 in the first game. Caminiti will be next. Ground ball coming in. Sanchez over the first. 2 away. And Traxel well on his way to a rare victory here at Wrigley Field. Two out, nobody on. Cleveland, after trailing the Yankees 3-0, at the end of 5, scored 4 in the top of the 6th to take the lead. 2 out, nobody on. There's a pitch low and away. Boy, the Pirates are behind 7-0, and they've come back to tie the Giants. Here's a pitch outside. How about that?
Well, that's good. Maybe the Giants will go through a good portion of their bullpen. Cubs have got a couple of good pitching performances today. In the first game from Frank Castillo, and this game Steve Traxel, so the bullpen has been saved.
Here's a pitch swung at and missed. Caminiti hitting left-handed, 1 out of 3. Made a couple of sensational plays already. Here's the pitch, foul out of play. Wow, Mike Stanley of the Yankees in the bottom of the 6th hit a grand slam and put the Yankees ahead 7-5. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Stanley's hit quite a few of those. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 out. Caminiti swings and strikes out. 1, 2, 3. Nothing across. We go in the bottom of the 7th. The Cubs are leading 9-3.
Time. A 1, a 2, a 3.
Introducing. Oh, and right after that, we had to stop production on my first ad as owner of Mint Mobile because, So instead of an epic ad, I created an epic slide. Mint Mobile is premium wireless for just $15 a month. Crazy, right? See, slides can be compelling. Ooh, thank you, slide. Oh, the Mint Fox.
Restaurants are our family, the cornerstone of our communities. And our family needs help. Right now, they're facing a crisis, and they're counting on your takeout and delivery orders to help them through. Because if we don't treat restaurants like family today, they might not be around to treat us like family tomorrow. Grubhub. Together, we can help save the restaurants we love.
I wanted more from my COPD medicine. That's why I've got the power of 1, 2, 3 medicines with Trelegy. The only FDA-approved once-daily 3-in-1 COPD treatment.
Trelegy, the power of 1, 2, 3. Trelegy, 1, 2, 3. Trelegy.
With Trelegy and the power of 1, 2, 3, I'm breathing better. Trelegy works 3 ways to open airways, keep them open, and reduce inflammation for 24 hours of better breathing.
Trelegy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Trelegy is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trelegy more than prescribed. Trelegy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
Think your COPD medicine is doing enough? Maybe you should think again.
Ask your doctor about once daily Trelegy. We know times are hard, and we're here for you. Find support at Trelegy.com.
0. The smallest number can now make for the biggest savings at Hyundai. With 0 interest for up to 84 months. 0 payments for 90 days. And thanks to Hyundai Assurance, 0 worries with 3 years of complimentary maintenance. Leaving 0 excuses to not be driving your new Hyundai by Memorial Day. Get 0% APR for 72 months on the Santa Fe or Elantra, or 0% APR for 84 months on the Tucson. Visit buyhyundai.com today.
Here's Timmons to lead it off. The lone throws a fastball by him.
Phil Clark has gone in to play right field, and Melvin Nieves has shifted to center. Clark will hit the number 1 spot in the batting order, vacated by Steve Finley. And Ozzie Timmons hitting for Traxel, so his day is done at 7 innings.
2 strikes and nothing.
Good time, Traxel. 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts.
Traxel, a fine job.
1 ball.
His day's work is over. He pitched 7 strong innings. He allowed only 1 earned run, a total of 3 runs, 2 of them unearned. Timmons, the ground ball, might be able to beat it out, but it goes foul.
It looks like Terry Adams is going to come into the game again in relief of Steve Traxel, as he did in the first game in relief of Frank Castillo. And there's Terry Adams, whose father will have a chance to see him 2 for the price of 1 today, appearing in both ends of the doubleheader. This is a converted starter who's just learning his trade as a stopper in the major leagues, and what better way to do it than to come up and sit next to Randy Myers and allow Randy to give him the benefit of his vast experience.
I hope you don't listen too closely to Randy.
Well, not many do it better than Randy.
Nah, nobody's better than Randy. Timmons batting for the first time. There's a fly ball and a short center field base hit. Timmons singles the center. Batting for Traxel. And here is Brian McRae. He's already gotten $100 with 4 hits for today, 2 in the first, 2 in the second, for the Better Boys and Girls Foundation. So here's McRae. Runner at first. Bottom of the 7th. The lone. High fly ball center field will be caught. Nieves makes the catch. 1 away. And here is Hojo. He's 2 out of 4 with a run batted in. We got Hojo out of the ball game, and Haney is in the ball game now. Hojo had 2 out of 4, 2 runs scored, 1 batted in while he was playing. Here's Todd Haney. The pitch. Strike call. After the Indians got 4 to take a 5-3 lead, Mike Stanley hit a grand slam, and the Yankees are now leading the Indians again. The Yankees beat the Indians behind Jack McDowell the other night. 1 out, 1 on. Foul ball out of play. Well, let's see. We still got a chance to be paid for an 8-hour day.
Depending on what time you got here.
There's a ground ball, easy out. And that's 2 away. Haney rolled out to Jody Reed.
And Mark Grace has had quite a day. What with all the walks, 5 of them, and 4 runs batted in here in the second game to run his season total to 67. He's taken over the team lead in that department.
Oh boy, if I could just won that first game, it would have picked up some ground. Who knows? Maybe they still will. Phillies will play. I mean, Houston will play tonight. Delone, boy, he's a big guy. Ron Delone. He must weigh 250. All these pitchers have that long hair these days. 1 ball, no strikes. There's a strike call. 1-1. Well, let's see. It's 4 o'clock out in San Francisco. Pitch a little bit inside.
Doubles in the National League, and Mark Grace well atop the leaderboard. Cordero, Sanders, Bichette behind him. But Grace leading by a wide margin.
Timmons a lead at second base. Ball high, ball 3.
Grace on the verge of walking for the 6th time today. That would give him 44 walks, and he leads the club in that department by a wide margin.
The pitch. Strike 2 call. 3-2. 2 out. Timmons the runner at second base. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Cubs leading 9-3. Now ready. Fouled it back. Delone almost got it past him. Now ready. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The Giants have taken the lead over Pittsburgh 8-7. And there's another base on ball for Mark Grace, his 3rd in this game.
Go with 3 in the first game, so Grace has been walked more today. 6 walks than a few guys that we know around the league.
Well, in each game, he's walked 3 times.
Sean Dunston has 6 walks in 311 at-bats, and Mark Grace had 6 walks today.
Here's Sosa. Outside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Sammy has had 1 hit. high fastball. Ball 2. Grace has added 2 more extra base hits to his credit. A double and a triple today in this game. There she goes, way back. It might be. It could be. It is. A home run out onto Waveland Avenue. And the Cubs now lead 12-3. Holy cow. Sammy got all of that one. His 19th home run of the year. And he's tied now with Mark Grace for the RBI leadership.
.2-0 fastball, and Sammy Sosa gets every bit of this one. And he saw Mark Grace go ahead of him, and the run's batted in. And with one swing of the bat, he's tied Grace.
Here's a pitch in there, a strike call. Timmons and Grace scored ahead of Sammy on his 3-run homer. His 19th of the year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, let's see. Can we play this game under these rules?
Total runs in the doubleheader wins 2?
Sure.
It's always a good one.
So far, it is 14-5 in favor of the Cubs, who the best they can get will be an even split. The pitch on a little bit outside. 3 balls and a strike. Boy, it's gotten hot here, too. Vallone. Big pitcher, big left-hander. He swings, fouls it off.
For Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly? Real far. 407 happy feet.
Boy, it sure seemed a little farther than that, Arnie. Here's a pitch inside, and Louis has been on base 4 times in this game. Also was on base twice in the first game, once with a triple and scored a run. Doug Butler is the new pitcher for the Padres. Livingstone has come in to play third base. And Eddie Williams is now playing first base. And I think Cianfranco's the shortstop. We'll check that.
Bachler pitched an inning in the 3rd Tuesday night, gave up a hit, struck out 1. That was it. And he comes on with a fine ERA of 1.59.
Cianfranco came in at shortstop a little while ago, so he's at short. Jody Reed is at second. Eddie Williams at third. Scott Livingstone at third. A 3-run homer by Sammy Sosa had bolstered the Cubs' lead to 12-3. Bachler's pitch. Sanchez had a cut. Sanchez 1 out of 3 today. Pitch low and outside. We'll greet you from San Francisco tomorrow night. Telecast time 9 o'clock Chicago time. There's a pitch inside. Then Saturday night, I think the game time's an hour earlier. WGN TV will be. Here's a pitch, a line drive, left field base hit. There's runners at first and third as Gonzalez raced to third on Sanchez's single to left. The Cubs will televise tomorrow night and also Sunday afternoon. With the Saturday night game, they're preempted by the network. So we'll see on the number 9 tube tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon. 1 ball, no strikes. Hernandez. Jose, 0 for 3. He is full with the curveball. It looks like that's a pitch that Jose Hernandez is going to have to learn how to hit a breaking ball.
It's hard on him. Well, it's hard on most people if it's in a good spot. And there's Sean Dunston being given the second game off.
1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. 2 balls and a strike, 2 out. 3 in. 2 on. Now the delivery. A high pop fly will be caught. Cianfranco, the shortstop, gets 3 runs on 2 hits, 2 left. At the end of 7, the Cubs leading 12-3.
Every weekday night, tune into the stadium.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to play as many games as possible as soon as possible.
If this 2020 Cubs team wants to get back to where they were at in 2016, I think David Ross is going to be the right guy to lead them there.
There was something that we could do to help stop the spread. Common Man is looking for 1 or 2 or 3 men. We decided to help the common man.
The Stadium, weeknights at 7 on Marquee Sports Network. Presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
I've been with Nell now for 2.5 years, and I just feel like I am making a difference in her life. I know how much her family relies on me being there. It's about the bond that we form.
At Care.com, you can find the help your mom needs to stay independent at home. Search from lots of local caregivers who can help with meals, housekeeping, personal care, and more. It costs less than you think.
At 98 years old, she's enjoying her life.
Find the senior care help you need. Care.com.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hey, it's not that hard. Stay home. Save lives.
Live women's tennis is back as the Tennis Channel Reopen Tour continues. It's the UTR Pro Match Series. Live coverage Friday through Sunday daily at 11 a.m. Don't miss this exciting live tennis action all weekend long on Marquee Sports Network.
Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. We have Adams now pitching. Timmons now in right. Bullitt in center for the Chicago Cubs, who lead by an overwhelming 12-3 score.
Scott Bullitt has come on to play center field. Timmons stayed in the game to play right. And Adams comes in to work now both ends of the doubleheader.
Well, that will get them ready for the weeks ahead. He knows that this is the way it's done in the Major League. Ball 1 inside. Say join the Cubs and the Marlins Wednesday, August the 23rd for Backpack Day. Compliments of lemon lime slice and the Museum of Science and Industry. Every youngster 13 and under attending the game receives a Cubs backpack, compliments of lemon lime slice, and the Museum of Science and Industry. For tickets, call 312, that's an area code, 831-CUBS. 831-CUBS. Base on balls, and Plantier is on. And Adams threw 4 in a row. Livingstone fouls the ball back. He's 0 for 3 today. Boy, I tell you, that Hernandez made one sensational play to rob him the hit in the first inning when they had 2 men on base with 2 out. And he hit a bullet, a low line drive, headed for left field. Hernandez made a backhanded pickup and threw to second for the force play. And you never know where, when a play like that early in the ball game, letting the opposition get on the board quickly, what effect it might have on the rest of the ball game. Runner at first. And the pitch. A line drive. Well, Cleveland is trailing the Yankees 7-5. There's Mike Grace had 6 walks today, and Dunson has 6 walks all season. A double play, 4-6-3. And Livingstone hit the ball sharply on the ground. Sanchez, Hernandez, and Grace turned it over.
Very snappy double play right here. Livingstone grounds into only his 2nd double play of the year, and they get him easily. Good quick throw by Sanchez at second, and Hernandez with a fine relay on the pivot.
2 out, nobody on. Top of the 8th. Terry Adams, 22 years old. Born in Mobile, Alabama. Lives in Simmons, Alabama. The Cubs took him in the 4th round of the June 1st, 1991 draft. So in less than 4 years, he's made it to the major league. 2 balls and the strike. 2 out, nobody on. Terry Adams pitch foul. Scout Jeff Kahn signed Terry Adams, by the way. There's a pitch high. He's got a good live arm. Three balls, 2 strikes. He struck him out. Cianfranco goes down swinging. No runs, no hits. We go into bottom of the 8th, 12-3 Cubs.
I'd kind of given up hope. I wasn't going to spend $12,000 on hair plugs. But I tried this, and it was great, and I've never looked back.
I brushed my teeth in the morning. I had braces when I was a child. We take care of other parts of our body. You can take care of your hairline. It's okay.
I mean, I'm just grateful that the products work so well, that they're so convenient, and that I don't have to stress out about losing my hair anymore.
Don't wait until you lose more hair. Go to forhims.com right now.
I see you out there. I hear you singing from the rooftops. You're making it work from home, where you're still going to work every morning. You're carrying the weight. You're lifting our spirits. And you are there for your community. Yeah, you. Turns out you're a lot stronger than you think. Your strength is inspiring to all of us. Thank you.
Motorcycle riders love the open road, and Geico loves helping riders get to where they're going. So to help even more, Geico is giving new and current customers a 15% credit on their motorcycle policies with the Geico Give Back. And because we're committed for the long haul, the credit lasts your full policy term. The Geico Give Back, helping riders focus on the road ahead.
We will get our momentum back. Our businesses back, our smiles back, ourselves back. Because that's what this community does. At First Midwest Bank, we want to thank our colleagues for doing everything they can to help our clients and our communities get through this. Because we are all in this together. And together, we will get our momentum back. First Midwest Bank.
Harry Caray and Steve Stone as we go into the bottom of the 8th. Here's Joe Kamak. 0 for 2 today. Caught a good game. Got hit by a pitch ball. Right-hand hitter. Outside, a fastball. Doug Buckler on the hill. That evens the count, a ball and a strike. 28,416 paid today. Boy, you notice how green that ivy is on the wall at this time of the year. Now the pitch outside. Look at it. I think that color's green. Arnie says it is green. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled it back. Kamak, a veteran, or 33 years old. Good man on the ball club, good man to have around. Appreciative of the chance he's getting. High pop foul out of play. I think they're already started to form a Kamak club. Joe Kamak. Again, he fouls it out of play. It looks like his swing is in a right field groove. It looks to me like he would hit almost everything to right. Swung and he struck him out. 1 away.
That brings up Ozzie Timmons, who came on with a pinch hit.
He started that 7th inning, which wound up climax by Sammy Sosa's 3-run homer. One out. Bottom of the 8th. A high pop foul will be caught. Osmus has it. 2 away. And here's Scott Bullitt. Hit the ball hard as a pinch hitter in the first game. Little activity on the rooftops. There was much more a little earlier, especially in the 3-tier box, 3-tier rooftop on the Sheffield Avenue side. There you are. It was well filled earlier. 5 after 6 here in Chicago. He swings, fouls it off. 1 ball, 1 strike. Scott Bullitt is 7 out of his last 23 as a pinch hitter. Not hitting now as a pinch hitter. He's in the game. Fouled it back. Boy, the Padres go home after the game, a doubleheader, and they play a doubleheader tomorrow. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Time is called. The delivery. Into the dirt. 2-2.
Thought Haney making a few friends by taking the ball and tossing it into the seats for a souvenir. That'll make a few folks happy behind the dugout.
There's a pitch fouled out of play again. Well, I tell you, in the old days, the owners frowned on that generosity because they figured it was coming out of their own pocket. But those are the old days. Why not give a kid a baseball if you have a chance? Ooh, Bullitt fell on his face, getting out of the way. Ball 3. 2 out. Three balls, 2 strikes. Fouled it out of play. Well, a lot of highlights of this day. One of the brightest of all are the seemingly Cub victory coming up. But fouled it out of play. Being kissed by Alana Stewart ain't so bad either.
Well, the Cubs will move to 500. That's exactly where they started today. They started today at 13.5 games back of Cincinnati, 6 games in back of Houston.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. Fouled it off. Tony Gwynn has not played at all today. Wouldn't have played last night. Had a game taking place, rained out. There's a high pop foul. Livingston coming in. Either one might have made a reach for the ball, but neither one did.
Osmus tried to wind his way around the railing right there. And the ball just fell harmlessly. So in one of the longest at-bats of the day, Scott Bullitt continues to spell good pitch after good pitch. See Livingstone over there. That one falls between Osmus and Livingstone.
I tell you, you can see right now these ball players from both teams are just tired. It's been a long day. It's been hot out there. The pitch swung. He struck him out. So at the end of 8, the score remains Cubs 12 and San Diego 3.
I'm Greg. I'm 68 years old. I do motivational speaking in addition to the substitute teaching. I honestly feel that that's my calling, to give back to younger people. I think most adults will start realizing that they don't recall things as quickly as they used to, or they don't remember things as vividly as they once did. I've been taking Prevagen for about 3 years now. People say to me periodically, man, you got a memory like an elephant. It's really, really helped me tremendously.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
I'm Mike Zen, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
Tell us we can't, and we'll prove you wrong. Knock us down, and we'll get right back up. Call us risk takers, misfits, bad boys. But we know what we want, and it feels like American muscle, looks like advanced engineering, and smells like fresh, cut grass. Bad boy, mow with an attitude.
It's starting to happen every day. People are surprising themselves the moment they realize they can do more with less asthma. Thanks to Dupixent, the add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma. Dupixent isn't for sudden breathing problems. It can improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks and help prevent severe asthma attacks. It's not a steroid, but can help reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Don't use if allergic to Dupixent. Serious allergic reactions can occur, including anaphylaxis, which is severe. Tell your doctor right away about signs of inflamed blood vessels such as rash, shortness of breath, chest pain, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection and before stopping any asthma medicines, including oral steroids. Do more with less asthma. Talk to your doctor about Dupixent.
You're watching the Marquee Mystery Game. Let's get back to the action.
We're back at Wrigley Field. Brad Ausmus leading it off here in the top of the ninth. Turk Wendell on the hill for the Cubs. And he's quickly ahead of him, 2 strikes and nothing. I tell you, Wendell is making quite an impression on Riggleman and Lynch during his last few appearances where he's been outstanding. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Struck him out swinging, 1 away. 0-1 the count. Eddie Williams hitting .271. 10 homers, 42 RBI. Wendell's pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. New York is beating Cleveland again. 2 balls and a strike. 1 out. Nobody on. 12-3 Cubs. A bit low. We'll greet you on Channel 9 tomorrow night at 9 o'clock from San Francisco. 9 o'clock Chicago Daylight Time. That would be 7 o'clock back in Southern California. We are 2 hours ahead of them. Eddie Williams draws the base on ball. Would be 10 o'clock in the eastern portion of the state, of the country. 1 out, 1 on. Not too many people left. The pitch. Strike call. An interesting series. The Cubs could have made it much more interesting. There's a drive. Way back. It might be out of here. It could be. It is a home run. Wow. He gave that ball a ride.
Home run number 8 from Elvin Nieves. And he took it way back. He's driven in 25. And not much doubt about that one.
So that's 2 runs in. 12-5 now. Boy, he showed good power on that one. He knew when he hit it, it was gone. 1 strike and nothing. 12-5 in favor of the Cubs. Boy, it's nice too. And I'm sure it must be just as nice for Jim Riggleman as it is for us up here. Be in a situation where a guy steps up, hits a 2-run homer, you don't even worry about it because you got a good lead. There's another drive way back, going to be caught. Luis Gonzalez is there. 2 away, 1 more. Phil Clark. Jody Reed now hitting. Phil Clark flat out. Reed 1 out of 4. 1 strike and nothing. 28,416 paid today. Quite a few of them have gone home. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Padres won the first one in a nail biter, 3-2, coming from behind with 2 in the 7th. Bouncing ball. Here's the throw. Haney. And the Cubs get an even break. They have beaten the Padres in the second game 12-5.
Thanks for reliving this Marquee mystery game on Marquee Sports Network.
Come and get it. Another Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite is on the air. I'm Cole Wright, but never mind that, because 14 years ago to the day, what a moment in the Crosstown Classic. Michael Barrett, AJ Pierzynski. We know there was a collision. Punches were thrown. Benches cleared. And Michael Barrett, he's going to join us right here on the show today to take a trip down memory lane. But we can't do that until we meet the guys running the 4-man weave. And let's do so, because Bruce Levine is here. So is JD and Pete McMurray. Always locked and loaded. And guys, it was the punch heard around Chicago. So let's get to it. Let's take another look at that solid right from Michael Barrett on AJ Pierzynski.
You can foul it back, but it's a good one to look for.
Got a fastball and lifts a fly ball into short left field. Pierzynski wanting to know, am I going? He is going. Here comes a throw by Merton. It is a collision at the plate. And Pierzynski not only bangs into Barrett, bangs onto the plate, and here they go. Posednik getting into it with Barrett. And now both dugouts empty behind home plate. I mean, there is some hooking going on in the bottom of 2 piles. Pierzynski ran right through Barrett and then slammed his hand on home plate. And Barrett came after him. Posednik wound up more involved with Barrett than Pierzynski did.
All right, guys, 122 interleague meetings between the Sox and the Cubs in that Crosstown Classic. Well, 14 years ago, it was as good as it gets. And that gets us to our Miller Lite refreshing take of the day, where I ask you, is that Cubs-Sox rivalry the only rivalry that matters when it comes to Cubs fans? Bruce, what say you?
Oh, no. I mean, look, Cubs and White Sox have only been playing each other since 1997. So you go back in time and, the turn of the century was the Cubs and Giants. And then it quickly became the Cubs-Cardinals rivalry, the 300 miles between the two. The fan base is split in half between the top of Illinois and the bottom of Illinois, and the Cardinal fans being down in the southern Illinois area. So it's always been Cardinals as number one, but it's cyclical because, for a long time it was the Mets. Now it's more, the question is it the Cardinals or the Brewers, now that both are intense rivalries every year? But I'm going to stick with the Cardinals for right now.
Makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. The Cardinals are the Cubs' top rivalry. I think all Cub fans most Cub fans would agree with that. I think what makes a rivalry is when you're fighting for the same prize. So 2 teams within the same division. With all the history between the Cardinals and the Cubs, that is one of the great rivalries in all of sports, not just in Major League Baseball. The Brewers have reared their head here in recent years, so they're in the mix when you talk about that rivalry conversation. Now, if there ever came a day where the White Sox and the Cubs were in the same league and certainly the same division, then, man, how much fun would that be? Then that rivalry would really take off.
Cubs and Sox fans, they love to hate each other. Before I was married 20 years ago, I lived with a 6'6", 265-pound Sox fan from Oak Lawn, and he reminded me every day how much he hated the Chicago Cubs. I mean, the rivalry with the Sox is fun, but I have to agree with Bruce and JD. It's the St. Louis Cardinals, same division every single year. The Cardinals put a good product on the field, but it's also fun to hate the Milwaukee Brewers. It's got to be a team in your division. Sure, it's fun in the same city, but the St. Louis Cardinals would be my pick.
Bruce, what about some of the moves that the White Sox have made in the offseason and in the years past? They look to be restoking that flame. So could that reignite the rivalry, Crosstown Classic again?
Yeah, Cole, that's a great point that you bring up. When the teams are equal and they're both talented, it gives a bigger edge. So for the only time in history that both teams went to the playoffs in the same year, except 1906, was 2008. And that was as intense a rivalry as there ever was. Now, you look at 2020, and if we're fortunate enough to have a season, we're going to see the White Sox and Cubs play at least 6 times this year. And, it'll be in a quicker fashion because it's within 80 games. As JD said, you take that and you step on the gas, you go from 0 to 60 very quickly if they're playing 15 games every year. Then we have to look back at this episode here and reevaluate which is the more intense rivalry.
Well, we'll see if that rivalry intensifies with those proposed 3 divisions this year. The Cubs and the White Sox, they would be in the Central. The Central would be the NL Central and the AL Central. You just would take the Pittsburgh Pirates out, and then you would put the Atlanta Braves in. So we will see. And there's much more to get to right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. We're packing a punch as Michael Barrett stops by to take us trip down memory lane. He's going to let us know what led to fisticuffs nearly a decade and a half ago in that Crosstown Classic. That's next, right here. You're watching Cubs 360.
Many restaurants and bars are closed, leaving millions without work. America's taps are off, but the tips are needed more than ever. Miller Lite is helping with a virtual tip jar that supports the Bartender Emergency Assistance Program via the USBG National Charity Foundation. Now, they started off with $1 million donation and are asking those who can to join them at virtualtips.org, and they'll continue to support the effort as we continue to face this unprecedented time.
Live women's tennis is back as the Tennis Channel Reopen Tour continues. It's the UTR Pro Match Series. Live coverage Friday through Sunday daily at 11 a.m. Don't miss this exciting live tennis action all weekend long on Marquee Sports Network.
What are you doing? What am I doing? Right now? Saving lives.
When you're home, there's nothing like enjoying a classic with a classic. Miller Lite. Great taste and only 96 calories.
It's a familiar story. Allergies ruining your sleep and next day too. Taking Zysol at night relieves allergies while you sleep, so you wake refreshed. Plus, it works faster than Claritin and on first dose provides the same relief as Zyrtec at nearly half the size. Be wise all. Take Zysol at night.
And Doug.
Give me your hand! I can save you! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual! We customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Where will you go first? Will it be familiar streets? Or perhaps unknown roads? Wherever you may go, Lexus will welcome you back with exceptional offers. Find a Lexus for every road at Lexus.com.
Get 0% financing and make no payments for up to 90 days on all 2020 Lexus models.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Throw coming in from Merton. The collision at the plate. Pierzynski into Barrett. They both get up, get tangled up. Right hook by Barrett. Melee on. Well, there's so much going on, DJ, as you know, having lived in this town, played for both sides. There's so much going on right now in this rivalry between these two teams, especially with the White Sox having won the World Series last year. I mean, their fans want blood in this series. They want to rub it in the Cubs' faces, and the Cubs, you know, they want to beat the defending world champ.
Hey, welcome back here to Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. And what you just saw, that was 14 years ago to the day. On the south side, A.J. Pierzynski, he comes rumbling home, and he meets Michael Barrett smack dab at home plate. And the rest, of course, is history. We know Michael Barrett hit him with that two-piece. And who's here right now? Look who it is. It's the Washington Nationals catchers coordinator and former Chicago Cubs catcher, Michael Barrett. Michael, thanks for taking time out. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Hello, Cubs Nation. Good to see you again. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on the show. And do us a favor, walk us through that play. A.J. Pierzynski, as he said, he comes rounding third, headed for home, and you see him. Did you think he was going to bowl you over?
No, that's one of those things where, you know, I kind of let my guard down. The throw hadn't gotten to home plate yet, you know, and I don't like to point the finger at anybody for, you know, how that play all kind of came about, but it was a fly ball that was hit that I thought was a sure tag and easy score home. Didn't think it was necessary at that point in time in the game or in that situation to try to block home plate, you know. So my intention that particular moment was not to take the throw from left field, and nor did I think there was a play at the plate. And this is the first time I actually think I've talked about it in 14 years. As far as the punch goes, I mean, there was a number of factors playing into that emotional situation. You know, they're coming off a World Series. You know, we're grinding it out, trying to get back to 500. We just come off a tough series against the Padres not long before that, where we had another altercation, and it was just, there was just a lot of tension to try to get back on track as a team.
What about the competitiveness of both you and Pierzynski? You both are known as, were known and are known still as fiery competitors. AJ, for the great player that he was and the great competitor he was, had a reputation. How did that all play into it?
I don't think so, because I've known AJ for so long. I knew him when he was, you know, drafted first year right out of the draft, you know, and I got a chance to meet him. And then shortly after that, when I was converted to catcher, you know, he kind of took me under his wing a little bit and had some great advice, you know. So I had respect for him, you know. And then that particular day, you know, I don't think a lot of that had much to do with what ended up resulting from the play.
What was going through your mind right before you punched him? Because you said you had so much respect for him, but you didn't have too much respect not to punch him in the face.
Yeah, at that particular time, it could have been anybody walking. I mean, it could have been anybody, but you know, it was just at that point in time, you're not thinking, well, I was blocking the plate or I was in his way or he had the right to run me over. You're not thinking anything like that. You're just thinking, man, there was no play at the plate. He's barreling down the line. I'm just trying to get to the ball. I'm not anticipating him, someone I've known for so long, to take me out. And then when he takes you out, so to speak, you know, it wasn't something that, you know, I look back on and I'm necessarily proud of, but you know, it's one of those things where, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. You know, sometimes your emotions get the best of you, and I'll never apologize for playing on the edge and playing the game hard, you know. But sometimes it gets the best of you, and you end up, you know, the results aren't always positive results, you know. Depending on how you look at
it. Fast forward to your couple of fights with Carlos Zambrano on the same day. Your competitiveness, your will to win, and Zambrano's were pretty similar. I mean, there was a lot of passion in the way you played. There was tremendous passion and a lot of spur of the moment when it came to Carlos. Explain that day and explain how all that transpired in your mind, looking back on it many years ago.
Just that particular day, just some of the things that were happening on the field, you know, Zambrano and I trying to change the attitude of what was going on, and then all of a sudden it was redirected toward each other, and it caused a ruckus in the dugout, then into the clubhouse. And that's not a guy that I would necessarily pick a fight with ever again. So hindsight 2020, and there's probably a lot of Cubs fans going, "Wow, you just thought of that now, 14 years later, 13 years later. That's smart of you."
It's just kind of the competitor that you were, Michael.
Mama Bear made it home.
Oh, that's great.
Mama had trade off.
So you can hand off some of the daddy daycare duties. How's that been going during quarantine?
That's right.
You have 7 of them at the house, right?
Yeah, it's been, I look at it like a blessing and a disguise. I've been in baseball for so long. This is the first opportunity to be at home with the family and, and just get to be at home is a blessing in a weird way. And I miss baseball. I mean, obviously I'm a huge fan. I miss it dearly, but to have the opportunity to be at home with the kids has been a blessing in disguise.
When it came to leaving the Cubs, what was the taste in your mouth? Because these things transpired, and then not much afterwards, you were traded and you were gone. Now, what were your feelings like walking out the door as a former Cub?
Yeah, I was crushed. I don't know too many players that play in Chicago, get traded or leave, and aren't devastated. At least, that's the way I felt. But I also had the opportunity to go to a great organization that was in a team that was in first place, vying for a playoff spot. So my frame of thought at that particular time was, it was tough because I every day I put on the Cubs uniform, all I could do was dream of what it would be like to win a World Series and bring it home to the fans. Every day I went out there, it was just such an honor to put on the Cubs uniform. Put on a Major League uniform is a great honor in and of itself, but for a storied franchise with such great history, great fans, man, it was just such a joy.
Absolutely, Michael. Now, you made the transition from Chicago to San Diego, and after your playing career wrapped up, you made the transition to the Washington Nationals. You're now their catching coordinator. So as you look forward to 2020, everything's going to be ratcheted up just a little bit because the season's going to be compacted. So how big of a toll will that take on catchers league-wide? What do you say?
I mean, the job that I have with the Washington Nationals has changed my life. And I just want to kind of dive into that just a split second because I know when you want to move forward. But this organization has been great to me and my family. I can't even tell you how awesome the Lerner family is, Rizzo and Doug Harris and the whole staff. We've got so many great catching guys in the organization. As far as looking forward, I just think there's so many variables. There's so many things that are playing into this decision that, I can't imagine, what it's like at home for viewers and baseball fans waiting for this to come about. I know it's tough. It's tough for us, but I know, without baseball, America's not the same.
Well, we want everyone to stay safe as well, but we'd also rather have baseball back sooner rather than later. Michael Barrett, thanks so much for joining us on the 14th anniversary to the day of that punch heard around Chicago. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate all y'all do for the network and for Cubs fans and Cubs Nation and Major League Baseball.
Now, still to come right here on Cubs 360. Now, we're giving the guys a blank canvas right here on the show, and they're going to give us the best strikeout artist in Cubs history. A lot of artists out there on the mound, and we're going to give you our best pick next right here. Don't touch that dial.
Restaurants are our family, the cornerstone of our communities. And our family needs help. Right now, they're facing a crisis, and they're counting on your takeout and delivery orders to help them through. Because if we don't treat restaurants like family today, they might not be around to treat us like family tomorrow. Grubhub. Together, we can help save the restaurants we love.
Hey, Guy. Hi there. Welcome to Hims.
Should have done it years ago, and I feel like the young stud that I always imagined I was.
Outstanding product. Works above and beyond our expectations.
This has been a life changer, even in just a few weeks.
Featured in GQ, Playboy, and Men's Health. Find out what all the buzz is about.
Go to forhims.com/ED and get started with a free online visit while supplies last.
Here's to the road ahead.
Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Right now, Toyota is offering 0% financing for 60 months on 8 of our most popular Toyotas, like Camry, RAV4, and Tacoma. You can even shop and buy online from the comfort of your home. Many Toyota service centers are open to help keep your vehicle in top shape and may even offer no-contact vehicle drop-off.
All from the brand you trust, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
We've been making cars for America for 25 years, building one of the best warranties anywhere, and capturing first place in initial quality for half a decade. We've never backed down from a challenge, and won't now. Introducing Kia's Accelerate the Good program, where we're pushing payments way down the road for new buyers, helping current owners keep the car they have, and providing other customer care programs. Because no one company or person can beat this thing, but together, we are unstoppable.
Coming up this week on Play at Home Trivia, presented by Miller Lite, a couple of former Cub pitchers go at it. The righty Jason Hamill against the lefty Sean Marshall. They'll test their knowledge of questions like this one. Jason, I'll start with you. Who's the Cubs' all-time leader in strikeouts?
Oh, obvious. That's an obvious one. Harry Carey. Duh.
Sean?
Fergie pitched a lot of innings, a lot of complete games. I'm just going to Fergie Jenkins.
All right, that's what we're going to discuss. We'll go with that. Cole, who is the all-time leader in strikeouts for the Cubs? That's up for you guys to discuss.
Hamill versus Marshall. It's going to be a pitcher's duel coming up next right here on Play at Home Trivia. You can only find it on Marquee Sports Network. You won't want to miss that for a second. Now, Ferguson Jenkins, he was filthy, no doubt about it. He leads the Cubs all time when it comes to strikeouts, 2,038. And Bruce, JD, and Pete, I'm sure they already knew that stat. There's no denying that. So, guys, I'll pose this question. If you needed someone to get a strikeout, you have bases loaded, Cubs up by 1, and you got to put a guy on the hill who is going to get that punch out, Pete, who are you going with this time?
Well, I thought of Lee Smith, first of all, because I loved what he did in the 80s. Kerry Wood, of course, the 20 strikeout game. I love Kid K. But if I had to go with one guy to get a strikeout, I would go with the guy that was here for a cup of coffee, the Cuban Missile, Aroldis Chapman. When he was here, guys, he threw a 105-mile-an-hour fastball. His ERA was under 2. Save after save, strikeout after strikeout. I mean, minus Game 7. We don't need to talk about that. And by the way, we won the World Series. But Aroldis Chapman, the Cuban flamethrower, would be my pick.
Well, that's a fine pick, Pete. And it's hard to argue against Aroldis Chapman. However, you could make a case for Craig Kimbrell, currently on this Cubs roster, who, along with Chapman, has the highest strikeout rate all time among major league relievers. But I went with the guy you mentioned earlier, Kerry Wood. Woody, of course, when he was healthy, was the dominant strikeout pitcher, the 20 strikeout game. He has the first, the third, and the fifth best single-season strikeout rates in Cubs history. When you look at that list, it's just about all players who played in the 2000s and beyond. The nature of the game has changed. So I think some of the guys from the Wayback Machine, Fergie Jenkins included, Greg Maddux to a certain extent, probably get shortchanged a little bit because it's a little bit easier to strike out people in the modern game. And the other interesting note I found, digging around a little bit, in terms of their career mark, Mark Pryor actually has a better lifetime strikeout per 9 rate than Kerry Wood. But I'm going with Kid K in his prime. Well, I'm going back into the Wayback Machine and going for the 1979 Cy Young Award winner in the National League, and that would be Bruce Sutter from 1977 through probably 1982 or 3. He was the most dominant relief pitcher maybe in the history of the game of baseball, with all due respect to Chapman. The pitch that dropped so many inches, and if I needed a strikeout back in that era, and it was the 9th inning with 2 outs, I wanted Bruce Sutter to be up there the swing and miss possibilities were very high for him. So it's a suitor for me for that one strikeout.
Bruce, JD, I thought maybe one of you guys would have gone the direction where Pete was going initially with, of course, Lee Smith. He's 7-time All-Star, 4-time saves leader, Hall of Famer in 2019. He was as good as it gets, and he was always letting his soul glow. He's feeling so silky smooth out there.
How about you, Darvish?
It was a thing of beauty. You Darvish, commanding stuff, no doubt
#1
about
all time in strikeout rate.
Well, there's no wrong answer there, guys, and there's still more to come right here.
Carlos
on
Marmol.
360 presented. Also a good choice. Also a good choice. We'll continue to kick that around here as the show progresses. We'll also talk about that 2016 team because they broke the 108-year curse. Steve Traxel not included, but other than champs, what are we going to call those guys? We're going to give them a nickname next, right here. You're watching Cubs 360. Calvin Schiraldi.
Every weekday night, tune into the stadium.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to play as many games as possible as soon as possible.
If this 2020 Cubs team wants to get back to where they were at in 2016, I think David Ross is going to be the right guy to lead them there.
If there was something that we could do to help stop the spread.
Common man is looking for 1 or 2 or 3 meals. We decided to help the common man.
The Stadium, weeknights at 7 on Marquee Sports Network. Presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
Weather's perfect. Families all together.
Can we switch to Geico, save money on our boat insurance?
How can it get any better than this?
Dad, I just caught a goldfish.
There's no goldfish in this lake.
Whoa.
It's pure gold. We're gonna be rich. We're gonna be rich!
It only gets better when you switch and save with Geico.
People from Chicago pull for Chicago. We root for its teams, celebrate its successes, push through its challenges. When people call us the second city, it's misleading. We're second to none. We're hardworking, resilient, but we have a good time. When you live in Chicago, you proudly call this home. Your bank should too. We're Wintrust, built here for here, and we've taken our place as Chicago's bank because no other bank can say the same.
Every generation has its heroes who see past themselves and the risks and the fear to run toward the danger with courage and compassion. Touching lives, saving lives, changing us all. Every generation has its heroes, and you are ours. Advocate Aurora Health.
When you're home, there's nothing like enjoying a classic with a classic. Miller Lite. Great taste and only 96 calories.
I'm Wilson Contreras.
I'm Kyle Schwarber.
I'm Albert Almora Jr.
Catch all the Cubs games on Marquee Sports Network.
Hey, shutting things down here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite with Bruce, JD, and Pete. And guys, MLB.com, they ranked the best team nicknames in the history of the game. And the Big Red Machine, the Reds from the 70s, coming out on top. Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, they were as good as it gets. They distanced themselves from Murderers Row, from the Amazing Mets, and there were a lot of good nicknames. There were 25 teams listed, and that 2016 Cubs team, you know where they landed? They didn't land on it at all because they don't even have a nickname. So, guys, if we were to give a nickname to the world champion 2016 Chicago Cubs, JD, what's a nickname for them?
Such a tough assignment. Alliteration always works. I thought maybe Madden's Marauders. This is the team that won 103 games. They were 17-5 in April. They won the division by 17.5 games. So I considered that one. Pass it aside. How about something along the lines of the once in every 108, you got to be freaking kidding me years? Maybe or like Haley's Comet, something that only comes around once in a great while. We can call them the Comets. But I pushed that aside as well, and I settled on the lovable winners, right? Because the Cubs for so long were the lovable losers. And this was a good bunch of guys that did everything right. They played well. They said the right things. They pitched well. They hit. They played the whole game. So I'm going to go with lovable winners. Well, I bounced around Miracles, the Chicago Miracles, because it certainly was one after 108 years. But then Centurions popped into my head. They were the soldiers of the old Roman Empire. They were supposed to train for 100 years of protection of that Roman Empire. So to me, that 108-year curse was beaten by the Chicago Centurions.
I don't even know what that means, but I was thinking the cardiac Cubs, but I decided on Madden's Maniacs because if you remember in 2016, these Maniacs would do anything Joe Madden asked. You guys, we got to put on zany suits for this road trip. They did it. Guys, we have to put on tracksuits with a crazy nickname on the back. They did it. Guys, you got to put on dresses. By the way, Javi Baez looked great in a dress. He had nice legs. But Madden's Maniacs would be my nickname for that 2016 team.
I was going to go with the alliteration factor with just the comeback kids, but I think that too many people have probably used that one before. I'm going to go with Bruce and the Centurions because that makes me want to go watch 300, Gladiator, and Troy all in the same day. And with all this time on our hands, guys, I just may do so because our time here is up. So for everyone at Marquee Sports Network, including Bruce, JD, and Pete, I'm Cole Wright. We'll see you tomorrow. Go watch an epic movie or so.
Hello and welcome to the stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. I'm Michael Kim. Thanks for watching us here on this Wednesday. Coming up, don't miss a trio of former Bulls players joining us to share their perspective and their memories of the Last Dance. They actually went through that 98 season with Michael and company. They were the company, right? Bill Wennington, Scott Burrell, and Dickie Simpkins joining us for a fun conversation. But first, on this anniversary of the Michael Barrett, A.J. Brzezinski brawl, Major League Baseball and the Players Association are preparing for a potentially nasty fight of their own. After a week of relatively positive and peaceful negotiations over safety and health issues and other specifics required to play a 2020 season, the talks took a negative turn as money became the focus. Major League Baseball has given the union two options to choose one in order to play, reports MLB Network insider John Heyman. Either negotiate a new financial arrangement or wait until the coronavirus clears to the point where fans can attend games, which could mean no baseball this year. Now, even if games are played and shown on television, the owners claim that they will suffer in the neighborhood of $4 billion in lost revenue without fans in attendance. The players are adamant that they won't take a 50-50 split in revenue, even as an exception for this year, because that will lead to a salary cap. They also contend that they agreed to take prorated salaries for a shortened season in March and say that deal, made in good faith, should stand. But then there's this. An email from March 26th obtained by the New York Post indicates that the Players Association knew that the initial deal was made with expected ticket sales, but that a second round of negotiations would have to take place if fans were prohibited from attending those games. So that is where we stand right now. Time now to turn to our stadium MLB insider, Steve Phillips. So, Steve, knowing what you know now, how does this play out in terms of the negotiations?
Well, I really do think the players want to play. I know there have been some guys out there that have voiced some concerns, some hesitation. They really want to play. And a lot of the guys who aren't making a lot of money, this is a chance for a payday to be able to make some money for their family. They want to cash in on it. The owners want to play, but they don't want to take on catastrophic losses. And so there seems to be some, at least some traction on both sides that they want to get a deal done. The question is, when can they start negotiating the financial ramifications of this? We all understand if they don't get a deal done now, they won't play this year. They'll come back, wait for the virus to go away. But the reality is the virus is never really going away. The risk is never going to be zero. And so I think we have to find some reason for the good of the game to pull it together for the fans, for the players, for the owners to find some common ground. I'm hopeful that maybe they can do it.
All right. Now that we know this information, it's out there, and if the players continue to hold and stand firm on their desire not to give in to the owners, how is that going to play in front of a hungry and maybe a hangry fan base?
Well, I think fans are going to be really upset. I do. I think particularly with the fact now that there's a memo out there that was transitioned within the commissioner's office informing a number of people, including the associate commissioner, Dan Halem, about the fact that there were conversations with the union and that the union understood the language in the agreement in March did indicate the fiscal possibility of playing without fans. That, was it possible? Were they going to be able to do that? And that they had conversations with union representatives on that topic, where the union sort of been denying, saying, no, that we don't have anything you're talking about. This is all about the prorated salaries. I think the fans are going to hold the players accountable much more than the owners under these current circumstances.
All right. Also, amid concerns that we may have a bounce back, a second wave of this coronavirus pandemic, what kind of a timetable are we talking about here?
Well, I think it's critical to get a deal done and get back playing as quickly as possible, because all along I thought maybe the players would try to negotiate extending the regular season through October, playoffs in November. But I think from the owner's perspective, the playoff money is critical. It's a major portion of the revenue stream they're going to get. They don't want to lose that. And so I think that we're going to look for the regular season, as is indicated, an 82-game season, where we're going to start playoffs in October, desperate to get the playoffs in before any potential bounce back and having to shut down the game. So the timing in the short term critical, and the timing at the end of the season important when it comes to revenue and potentially paying the players.
But of course, we still have to get a deal. First things first. We'll see about that. Steve Phillips, our Stadium MLB insider, with some great info as always. As Matt Nagy explained this week, the Bears QB competition will not be won on Zoom. The Bears don't have the green light yet to resume team workouts, but several other teams opened their facilities yesterday. If baseball players are concerned about their health and welfare, what does this mean for football? Brown Center and NFL Players Association President J.C. Tretter addressed that concern during a conference call with reporters.
This is a contact disease, and we play a contact sport. So the way this thing passes along is through contact, and that's what we do for a living. The way coronavirus has kind of changed how every industry is working. You can't expect just to throw football back in and think that the virus is going to, kneel down to almighty football. You have to look through different ways of making sure people stay healthy, and there's going to be new ideas, and it's probably going to look a little different this year, making sure people stay healthy.
Did you know that 2 of the 3 Super Bowl championships won by Joe Gibbs happened during a shortened season? Yeah, no one holds that against the Hall of Fame coach. Now, we bring this up because of a strong opinion voiced by Matt Duchene of the Nashville Predators, who wants nothing to do with what he calls a COVID Cup, the proposed 2014 playoff format to determine a champion this season.
I just think that you got to keep this thing as much integrity as possible. You don't want to have a COVID Cup, and I'm worried that if we come back and force this thing and try and it's gimmicky, or if it's not quite right, whoever wins the cup is going to have people trying to take it away from them their whole lives.
Who knows how many other players, coaches, and fans will complain if their team wins the COVID Cup this year. If the 2014 tournament plan is implemented, the Blackhawks are in. At the time of the shutdown, they owned the 12th best record in the West and the 23rd best record overall. A 4th Stanley Cup in the past decade would still put them 2 behind the 6th won by the Bulls in the 90s. Horace Grant played a key role in that first three-peat, but it turns out he's not too happy with Michael Jordan alleging that he was a media snitch and provided inside info for Sam Smith's best-selling book, The Jordan Rules. He tells ESPN Chicago, "It's only a grudge, man, I'm telling you. It was only a grudge, and I think he proved that during this so-called documentary. When if you say something about him, he's going to cut you off. He's going to try to destroy your character." Straight ahead, Ho Grant wasn't the only former teammate who might have a beef with MJ. What do other members of that Bulls team think about how Scottie Pippen's story was told? We speak with Bill Weddington, Scott Burrell, and Dickie Simpkins next on The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
Get to know where to place your next bet on Follow the Money on Marquee Sports Network. Vegas veterans Mitch Ross and Paulie Howard host this hour-long show, share their knowledge of sports and gambling.
If they keep that together, who knows what happens in 99 and 2000. Maybe it's a 5-beat right then and there.
Get the most up-to-date information in live odds, predictions, and betting trends from the sports gambling capital of the world. Follow the Money, live weekday mornings at 6 on Marquee Sports Network.
The stadium is proudly presented by UI Health. Thank you to our heroes on the front line, and thank you, Chicago, for doing your part and staying home. We will get through this together. Proud partners with UI Health, changing medicine for good.
I'm Mike Zen, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
Sport has the power to unite. It has the power to build communities. It has the power to break down barriers and allow people to feel as though they're on equal footing with one another. We at Cubs Charities have the ability to do some critical work right now, utilizing the power that sports has in building community, in inspiring hope, and uniting a city.
Live women's tennis is back as the Tennis Channel Reopen Tour continues. It's the UTR Pro Match Series. Live coverage Friday through Sunday daily at 11 a.m. Don't miss this exciting live tennis action all weekend long on Marquee Sports Network.
Welcome back to the stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. Earlier this week, I had a chance to sit down with three former members of the Bulls who saw and experienced 22 years ago what we just saw during The Last Dance. Bill Wennington, Scott Burrell, and Dickie Simpkins were kind enough to share some of their time and their stories. And we, in turn, will share some of their memories of that magical 1998 season over the next 2 days. Today, we begin by getting their initial reaction to the final product.
I thought it was great. I thought it just brought back great memories for all of us. And for me, these guys won 3 championships. For me, it was exciting to see the only championship that I had a chance to win. The urgency that MJ had all throughout the season to make us, to get us on the path of winning a championship. And everybody doing their roles to better themselves, to better their team. And watching, after watching 9 and 10, it was awesome to relive the tough battles of Indiana and then the tough battle with Utah and celebrating in the locker room with all your teammates that you love and cherish.
And Bill, what does it say about the storylines that still resonate even following the characters? And we already knew what we thought we knew about Jordan and Pippen and Rodman, and now, of course, Steve Kerr, because of his coaching career, has really stepped up to the forefront as well. But what does it say that people have this much interest in a team from 22 years ago?
Well, it must say how good that team was, how extraordinary it was in that time of basketball for a team to win 6 championships in 8 years, and to Michael to win 72 games and a championship, and Michael being as great as he was, made us all better players every day. You see, Phil talking about being in a moment, Michael about being in a moment, and how we all could just stay in a moment with whatever distractions they were, whether it be the media induced or Dennis Rodman induced. That team was so mature and was able to compete at that high level throughout anything, because that's how good that team was. Not just Michael and Scotty, just the whole team and how well we were bonded together.
Yeah, you guys had great resumes of your own during your high school and collegiate careers, and even in the NBA before you came to the Chicago Bulls. As far as what Scott was saying, Dickie, about he was that was the only championship that he won in the group. For you and Bill, you guys won multiple titles. How does that particular season and that particular team compare to the others there during your run with the Bulls?
Well, first of all, let's let the record show that Scott Burrell needs to thank me for getting his championship ring. He needs to thank MJ, but he needs to thank me too, because I waived my no trade clause so he could come over from Golden State. But it was special for me. It was special because of my journey, being there with the two championships in '96 and '97, and then getting traded to Golden State, where I went over to a team where it was night and day, coming from a championship organization to a situation that was more like a reality TV show, Jerry Springer type stuff, because that was the year Free Will choked Carlissimo. So I had a little different dynamics that made me appreciate being able to come back. And what stood out the most for me was that, kind of like Bill said, we were a team with a bunch of guys that were professionals, knew what they had to do, knew their role, had an unbelievable leader, and you didn't want to let the team down. And ultimately, knowing that that was going to be the last time that everybody was going to be together, made you appreciate it more, made you embrace the moment, and made you stay locked into the goal of winning the championship, doing part to win the championship. So that's what stood out the most for me.
What storyline, guys, from this documentary series do you believe that maybe they either didn't accurately present? And I know, Scott, you said that they made it seem like you were the only guy who was getting yelled at during practices, but you weren't, you say. And then also maybe something that you saw there and you remember it differently. Is there anything, Bill, that stands out in terms of that?
Nothing that I remember differently. Stuff that you forget. Like when they first started off in the first couple of series, I didn't forget that Scotty sat out surgery back. And then until I saw it the other night, I forgot about Rodzilla. It was just like, that's right. He just took off and disappeared one day and came back. But the thing that was neat about it, and people were asking about that all the time now, is, well, what was that like? What happened when he got back? When he got back, he showed up for practice, and you saw the meeting that we had. That's it. Dennis walks down the floor. Phil says a couple words. Rodzilla, haha. You let us down a little bit, but let's go. And it was over. It was back to business as usual. As far as Michael being hard on Scott, he was hard on everyone. It wasn't just Scott. Now, he enjoyed it with Scott because Scott fought back in a funny way and made it interesting for everyone. But that was just who Michael was and what he was doing to get us all to be able to compete at that level, waiting for our moment.
And Dickie, in the scene where Rodzilla finally does show up, where were you? Because they asked you, or at least Phil does, or he mentions, well, Dickie, you weren't here at the beginning of practice. So where were you?
Yeah, that kind of threw me off too. I guess he found out that I was with Rodzilla at the wrestling match too. So I guess I got found out that me and T-Rod came back together for the wrestling match. No, that kind of threw me off. I don't know if Phil was referencing to a moment that they had with dealing with something that D-Rod had done before I returned back to the team. But otherwise, that kind of threw me off when we were in practice. And when I was watching, I was like, why are we all acting like this is the first time D-Rod has done something like this? So I didn't know if it was from before when I wasn't there, or if he was tying me with D-Rod, like I came in with him after hanging out at the WrestleMania.
Obviously, Bill, the guy that everybody would have loved to have heard from is Jerry Krause. Of course, he passed away. Another guy who was absent from this entire documentary series, outside of just a few highlights, was Luke Longley. What can you tell us? Why wasn't he involved in this, as far as you know?
Well, I wish I did know. I have no idea. I saw all the stories that everyone else has seen, that he's changed his number, didn't want to talk to anybody about it. But as far as I know, he had a great time. I even had a great experience with us. I got him on my video camera in Utah, talking behind us, and he says, "Bill, I know we give you all kinds of crap about shooting your video." He goes, "But in 20 years, this is going to be a hell of a watch." And I know he was enjoying it. And it was fun. He was fun to be around. He was one of the funnest guys, especially to go out and eat. He ordered dinner for us when we all go out to eat, and he'd order 22,000 appetizers, and then, all right, what do you want to eat for dinner now? And people forget, how big Luke was. I'm 7 feet tall, and Luke made me look small. He was 2 inches taller than me and a lot heavier than I was, or bigger than I was. But he was a big man, but a lot of fun to be around. And I thought he had a great experience here in Chicago. And I know I talked to him a few times later on when he was in Phoenix and New York, and he was missing the days. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I really don't know what he's doing these days.
All right, guys, let's talk about Scottie Pippen. He wasn't always presented in the best of light during this series, whether it was about his contract dispute, waiting until the season started to have surgery. You had the 1.8 seconds. You had the migraine game, Game 6, and the back injury. What did you make of the way he was presented?
It's kind of tough because a lot of people will see what he did and think he's going to be a little bit selfish. But to be honest with you, Scottie was my favorite teammate as a Bull. One, he was so talented and so good. The things he did on the floor were absolutely amazing. But he was, I don't want to say the opposite of Michael, because they both expected us to be 100% all the time and ready. But he was more nurturing. So he was a guy that put your arm around you. And you saw it a lot in the film the other day. He'd come up to Scott and even say, don't listen to him. You're doing all right. Hang in there. And he did it with a more loving touch. It was kind of like good cop, bad cop with Scottie and Michael. And that dynamic worked really well. But Scottie was an amazing teammate. He was accountable for his actions on the floor. He was very accountable to us. Yes, he made mistakes, but that kind of gave him a human touch and humanized him for all of us. And he was a wonderful teammate to be around. And arguably the second best player in the league at the time. Was just amazing to be with.
Mm-hmm. Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I love Scottie. I think, and people underestimate how good he was, though, too. That's the saddest part about his legacy. Because even the year Michael retired, he was in the top 5 of 3 of the main categories in the NBA. But like Bill said, he was the go-between guy between me and MJ. When MJ would ride me, he would be the one that says, don't listen to him. He just talking junk to you. Just do what you got to do and get better. But I love Scottie. I love playing with all those guys, but Scottie was awesome too.
And Dickie, you not only played with Michael, but then you ended up working for him, I guess, as a scout for the Charlotte Hornets, now with the Washington Wizards. But what was that dynamic like, having to go from being a teammate then to more or less an employee, officially at least, with the Hornets?
It's interesting. MJ gives me a call one day. He and Rod Higgins were on the phone together, and they wanted me to come on board and work with the organization. So it was no-brainer for me. MJ's always been good to me, and the friendship we had and the respect. So I wanted to come on board and get involved with the NBA front office part. And working for MJ it was like playing with him on the court. I mean, he's a competitive owner. He's going to talk trash. He talks trash all the time in the draft room, in the meetings. He's going to hold you accountable to do your job and come with true information and evaluations and be able to back that information. And he's going to respect your work. If you're working hard and you present it in a way where you don't come, scary or afraid of him, and so it was kind of like playing with him on the court. It's still the same MJ, competitive, joking, talking trash, and wanting to compete at the highest level. So it was no real difference in the MJ the player as the MJ the owner.
Coming up tomorrow, part 2 of our Last Dance Roundtable with Scott Burrell, Dickie Simpkins, and Bill Wennington. They answer a burning question about who was whom on the hotel rooming list. Some of the aliases are revealed tomorrow at 7 p.m. right here on the Stadium. Still ahead, happy anniversary, AJ Przinsky and Michael Barrett. Oh, all the details coming your way next on the Stadium. Proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
The Stadium is proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
This isn't forever. It's a moment in time. We may be isolated, but we're still connected. We navigate individually, but experience this together. We're Chicago. We know how to hunker down and push through. We'll come out stronger, more resilient. Look forward to the day we'll share these spaces once again. From us at Wintrust to all of you, hang in there. We'll see you on the other side.
Restaurants are our family, the cornerstone of our communities. And our family needs help. Right now, they're facing a crisis, and they're counting on your takeout and delivery orders to help them through. Because if we don't treat restaurants like family today, they might not be around to treat us like family tomorrow. Grubhub. Together, we can help save the restaurants we love.
Your brain is an amazing thing, but as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. In clinical trials, Prevagen has been shown to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
And Doug.
Give me your hand! I can save you! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual! We customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I'm Kyle Hendricks. I'm Anthony Rizzo. I'm Craig Kimbrell. You're watching Marquee Sports Network.
Welcome back to the stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
Pierzynski wanting to know, am I going? He is going. Here comes a throw by Merton. It is a collision at the plate. And Pierzynski not only bangs into Barrett, bangs onto the plate, and here they go.
On this date in 2006, the Crosstown Classic becomes the Crosstown Throwdown when Cubs catcher Michael Barrett took exception to getting run over by White Sox backstop A.J. Pierzynski. Barrett landed that solid right, and he was handed a 10-game suspension by Major League Baseball. Stay tuned for Cubs 360 Daily for more on today's anniversary, because Cole Wright has this preview with a special guest.
Hey, coming up next, right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite, Michael Barrett. He joins us to discuss the Crosstown Classic when he and A.J. Pierzynski mixed it up at home plate. It's a moment that you won't want to miss. You can catch it all right here next on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite.
Thanks, Cole. You can catch Cubs 360 Monday through Friday at 7:30. Marquee Sports Network is shining a spotlight on hometown heroes, members of the community who are stepping up to help during the COVID-19 pandemic. If you would like to nominate someone, please let us know. You can head to marqueesportsnetwork.com/heroes to nominate our next hometown hero. A reminder that we have a new start time. You can catch us every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. right here on Marquee Sports Network. Thank you so much for watching The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. We'll see you again tomorrow.
If only there was a place nearby you could get one of these. Or these. Good thing they're sold literally everywhere business is done. I'm pretty sure you could buy them at a bank. Not sorry, Reese's.
Every generation has its heroes who see past themselves and the risks and the fear to run toward the danger with courage and compassion. Touching lives, saving lives, changing us all. Every generation has its heroes, and you are ours. Advocate Aurora Health.
road ahead. Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Right now, Toyota is offering 0% financing for 60 months on a new 2020 RAV4. Or you can lease a new RAV4 for $229 a month. You can even shop and buy online from the comfort of your home. Many Toyota service centers are open to help keep your vehicle in top shape and may even offer no-contact vehicle drop-off.
All from the brand you trust, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
No one should face breast cancer alone. I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. When I was diagnosed in 1980, there was no internet and little information available to make an informed decision. Today at NBCF, we help women at every step of their breast cancer journey. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. Learn more at nbcf.org/hope.
We're all missing those special moments when baseball brings us together.
For now, let the memories of the good times help you through.
Thank you to those who are working on the front lines and to those keeping everyone going on the home front.
Thank you, Chicago, for staying safe at home.
We will have more of those memorable moments soon enough.
Welcome. How are you? Hope you're doing okay. It's Play at Home Trivia presented by Miller Lite. I'm Chris Myers, and from our home to your home, hope everybody is doing okay and hanging in there. We're going to lighten the mood, have a little fun with some Cubs and Chicago-centric type sports questions. It's a quiz. Let's meet our contestants. There'll be an ultimate winner, so it's real sports competition here. Jason Hamill, 13-year Major League career, 3 with the Cubs.
And Hamill, swing and a miss. Swing and a miss on a high fastball. It's 4 straight strikeouts.
And you see him on the Marquee Sports Network as an analyst. Jason, nice to see you. Looks like you're set up in class there, doing a little teaching, or are you studying for the show?
Yeah, I got my